Hello everyone and welcome to my coloring corner. Today we are taking a look at the Sakura Coupy pencils. This is a 60 set of what I call crayons. Um, the Asian company, Japanese company calls them pencils. However, they are a wax crayon is what they are. They are a step above, well, quite a few steps above um, the Crayola crayons. They are, they don't have a paper coating on them. They are solid crayon all the way through. They are numbered, however, they're not named on the crayon itself. The names are listed at the top of the tin. The tin is massive. It is so big. It is very difficult to use this on a desk. Um, because I do have several desks around me, I do have to put these on a separate desk when I use them. I did use them to color a page on Monday. I colored the Easter Bunny page with them, and they did very, very well. I was very surprised on how well they did. We're going to take a look at the colors themselves. I do have them in the order of which they were in the box on my swatch chart because I don't ever intend on taking them out of the box because of the fact that they are wax all the way through. There's no coating on them at all, um, other than a slight shiny coating. Like it's not plastic, it's not um, paper or anything like that. It's just a little bit of a glaze on the outside of the pencil or a crayon, whatever you want to call them. I don't know anymore. But there's just a slight glaze on the outside of them that prevents your hands from picking up the pigment. But I did notice when I was using them on Monday that if I kept them in my hand too long, they started feeling sticky. So I don't want to put them in a case and have the case get warm anywhere because I don't want them to melt. They do feel like they would probably melt at a fairly low temperature. Like I said, my hands made them feel a little sticky, a little soft. So be careful of that if you decide to purchase these. These I did purchase on Amazon. They were not horribly expensive. A little bit more than 60 Crayola crayons, but they do lay down very, very nicely, and they do blend very nicely as well, which we will take a look at after we look at the swatch. So grab your cup of coffee, sit back, relax. We're going to do a swatch, and then we will come back. We will do some testing and some other information. All right, guys, with that, I will be right back. All right, so that wasn't too bad. So as you can see, we have a really good selection of colors in the set. It is only 60 crayons, so there's not a huge selection of extras. They do have a couple of metallics and a couple of luminous colors here as well. But the color selection in the base color families is really good. They have them separated in different color families, the pastel color families as well as the regular. So we've got our yellows into our oranges, into our reds, into our red violets, into our blue violets, into our blues, our blue greens, our greens, and our yellow greens. And then we have our pastel tones. So we have our pinks into our purples, into our browns. I don't know why they separated the pinks and purples and the pastel blue here, the blue gray, from the rest of the pack. I'm not sure why, but it does work in the package itself. So I will show you how it works in the package. So and then we have our browns, our grays, our silver and gold, as well as our luminous colors. Now, I do have testing ability on the back of this swatch chart, so we will be testing them. Let's take a closer look at the crayons themselves. So when you look at the set, it does look very cohesive. So they do work in quite easily to all of these pastels being down here instead of integrated in. I personally would integrate them in, and I may end up doing that anyway. I just haven't used them enough to decide whether or not I don't like them there for sure. And like I said, this is the order in which they are on the box in the color order that it came in, as well as the color order that is listed in the lid here. So on the crayons themselves, let's try not to knock everything off my desk. I'm going to grab a dark one here so you can see it. So on the crayons themselves, it has the Sakura Coupy pencil and then the FY49. 49 is the number of this pencil, so that is black. On the inside of the lid, it has it in Japanese as well as in the um, English. That's the word I'm looking for. But the name of the pencil itself, the name of the crayon itself, is not on the crayon. So once you get to this point of the crayon, you're going to have a difficult time knowing what color it is beyond the color on the barrel. They are hollow at the end here. I don't believe they're hollow all the way down. They're just hollow at the end. And I think, yeah, they do kind of fit together, but not really. But I think maybe when they're manufactured with the ends of the next crayon inside of this crayon and then separated mechanically. So they're not hollow all the way through. They're not brittle. They're not fragile. They do, like I said, they do warm up and tend to feel like they're bending a little bit, but they don't warm up or break. So, or, melt kind of thing. Not in your hand anyway. However, if you do leave them in your hand too long, that may be an issue. So we're going to grab some colors. We're going to grab yellow, which is this one here, and red, which is number 19. So it should be this one. And blue, which is number 36, which should be this one. Did I put 36 or 38? 36. There we go. Some of the numbers are a little bit stamped close. Like this one here looks like a 38, but it's a 36. So when they stamped it into the crayon. But when they put the paint over top of it to put the golden color here, it didn't cover all the way. So it takes a little bit of moving it around to see what color it is. Now we're going to do, of course, our water resistance test as well as our um, smudge tests and our 3-color blends, all that sort of stuff. I put away my watercolor pen like a silly doof. So we're going to pull that back out. I was cleaning off my desk, making room for the for the case, and then I put everything away and going, I needed those. Now I'm going to zoom you in so you can see a little bit better of what I'm doing. And we'll go through and we'll do the testing. And we'll take a look at the cost of the pencils, the color selections, as well as the blendability of them, that sort of thing. So we're going to start with our red. So when you put them down on the paper, you definitely notice that they are a wax crayon. They don't have the blendability or the layerability that most pencils have. They do have a heavy waxy feel to them. And when you get too many layers down, you can definitely tell that the wax buildup is there. You get that wax cracking, like crayons do. So there's our red. And as you can see, it did cover quite nicely, which is great. And then our yellow, of course, is going to be a softer wax because there's not as much pigment in that. They are going to cover a little bit better, a little bit quicker. It's the same kind of wax, it's just got less of the pigment, so it's not as hard as the red. And same with the blue. The blue is going to be closer to the red because of the pigmentation level in it. I do have a bit of a issue with the breathing today. I think the allergen level is really high today. Even though it's a little bit cloudy and raining off and on, it just seems to be a little snuffly. Okay, so we're going to dust that off. Make sure that you dust off your page often. With these, they do leave remnants all over the place, so make sure that you dust that off. All right, so I've got water on the pen here, and there is absolutely no movement, none whatsoever in that red. And actually you can see the water beading up on the wax. So that tells me that they are in fact water resistant because they are definitely not moving with that water. So that gives us the information of the heaviness of the wax. With the amount of wax in them, it does give them that ability to be water resistant, more so than a colored pencil. So I'm just going to do the same thing here on the smudge. Going to make sure I have enough of it down to the level that I would have down on a page that I'm coloring, so that I'm giving a accurate information on whether or not my hand is going to smudge these. Now, if you have issues like I do, where I literally will smudge every pencil if I'm not careful, especially if I'm overheated or anything like that. My chemical composition seems to have a tendency to move pencils around. So I do this test to verify whether or not my hand is going to move that pencil. There are some that I don't, and there are some that I do. So this test just gives me that information so I know what to do, what to be careful of when I'm coloring with them. All right, and there we have our saturation levels. Now we're going to take my finger, nothing on it, no water, no nothing, and that did not move at all. Neither did that one. So they don't smudge either. Now we're going to do our 3-color blend, and we're going to use our pinks for that. If I can get the package open. Now we're going to use a little bit of this one, a little bit of this one, and a little bit of this one. So we're going to use a red, a pink, and so different levels of pink. And like I said, I did color a page with these out of Monya's Easter book. So I did color the Easter bunny. And they did, like I said, they did quite well. So I was actually impressed with how well that they were able to lay down and blend. I did that on the same cardstock that I'm using for the swatch chart here, so hopefully this will blend the same way. Just putting down a thin layer. I'm not getting too heavy-handed with it. I don't want to take up all the tooth of the paper. And with a wax-based crayon like this, you will find that it's very easy to take up the tooth of the paper, so be careful of that. So I'm just going through and I'm making it really deep here on the edge as we go into the next color. Going over top of that first color. And just gently putting a layer over top of that. Blending into that first color. And bringing it out. The one thing I did notice with these while I was coloring with them is that they do tend to work better with a lighter hand, building that color up as you go and blending it together with the lighter colors. Okay, now we're going to use the lighter one. Blending into that medium color. Looks like I need a little bit more of that medium color there to blend into. So we'll go back and we'll put another layer of that medium on there to get that blend completed. You will notice a lot more white tooth come through. So the white spot come through the crayon when you're coloring. Keep on layering, keep on putting that saturation on the page, because even if you use a blender to move the pigment around, you're going to need that pigment to be on there. So make sure that you have enough pigment on the page for that blender to actually move it around. All right. Well, it does seem that they do move together. They do create a gradient blend when layered and blended together. It does take a little bit of work, but it can definitely be done, which is great. So layering and doing a 3-color blend works really well. It does get a soft transition, and they work well for that. Now we're going to hopefully not have those roll all over the place. We're going to do our rainbow blend. So we're going to start with our red. And again, we're going to build this up. So we're going to get the red nice and heavy in the most part of it. We're going to blend that yellow into this tail. Now remember, when you go from red to yellow, you're going to get more of a red orange. And if you go from yellow to red, you're going to get more of a yellow orange. So then we're going to start back here with the yellow, because we want to put a tail here for the blue. Then we want to do our yellow color. And then we're going to bring this in like this. And then we're going to start going into that red. And we're going to take the red, and we're going to go into the yellow with it. You can definitely see where the transition has started and where it's continuing. It does seem that the yellow is more of the key for blending this to create orange. So it does create orange. Um, it's a little bit more difficult than I'm used to, especially with colored pencils. Again, I'm not at all proficient or I'm not great with with pencils, with wax crayon pencils. I'm okay with pencils. I'm not so great with crayons. Um, I don't find it a medium that I normally use. Um, Shannon from Color and Craft with Shani Blue has showed me and showed everybody a wonderful technique of blending wax crayon. She did that, I do believe, last year during the Mystical Lands Marathon. So if you don't already know, you can blend your wax crayons very nicely with the Caran d'Ache blender. So if you have issues with getting them to blend together, you may find that your Caran d'Ache blender is your friend. I know it's my friend. So it does do the rainbow. So we have our red, our orange, our yellow, our green, and our blue. And if I wanted to, I could come back over here to this side here and create that purple as well. So they do blend quite nicely together and they do create the rainbow. It takes a little more work than a colored pencil does. Now I'm going to show you what I mean by the fact that the Caran d'Ache blender blends these very nicely. So we're going to take our red, burgundy red color here. And we're going to put a really heavy layer of it, almost filling in the white spot. And this is not to see if we can move it to fill in the white spot. This is to see if we can transition these colors together to create a blend. Now I'm bringing this one right up to the edge. Of course, still making it quite heavy because without having the pigment on the page, the blender doesn't have the ability to blend. And then this one here. We will also do a white spot test on the same line here. I will just draw a line. All right, so now I'm going to take the Caran d'Ache blender, make sure it's clean, and we're going to go in the opposite direction that we laid that down. So we're going to go in this direction. Then we're going to dust that off. And then we're going to go in this direction. The softer colors transition a lot nicer than the darker colors. But we do have a transition there, especially between these lighter colors. Now I'm going to draw a line in the sand here. And we're going to do the same type of blender test, but we're going to use our blue and our red. And we're going to see if we can transition that together to make a purple, but also cover up the white spot. Still, even if you're trying to cover up the white spot, you need to put enough pigment down for that blender to grab hold of. The colors I'm using are the red and the blue. Okay. Now, as you can probably see, there's plenty of white spot in there in both sides. We're going to start in the red, and we're going the opposite direction that we laid down the color. And then in the same direction, just finishing it off. And as you can see, it completely covered the white spot, made a very, very smooth transition, and there's no heavy buildup. It's nice and smooth. Now we're going to check the blendability and see if they're able to be blended with white. So we're going to lay some yellow down. Now white will change the color of the pigment that you're using. So if you don't want to change the color that you have so far, do not use white. Use your colorless blender. The white in this does seem to be a little bit opaque, so I would be careful using the white. Now we're going to use yellow and red here, creating that orange. but we're going to use the white to blend it. Trying to, again, remove the white spot. Now, using white on red will make a pink color, possibly on the yellow and orange transition there, it may make a peachy tone. Just going to make sure I have enough yellow here for it to blend. All right. I'm always paranoid of them rolling off the table and hitting the floor. All right, now we're going to go the opposite direction. We're going to start with our light, move down into our dark, and we're going to go in the opposite direction that we put the colors down. And that did not blend well at all. Going in the same direction now. And I would not suggest using the white to blend these. It does not work. It does not blend them together, and it just basically creates a mess because it picks up the color and deposits it elsewhere. So personally, I would not suggest using the white to blend that. However, if you want to lighten a color up, you can definitely use the white to do that. So if you're blending one color and it's a lighter color, or you want that color to be lighter, you can definitely add that white on top of it to get it to blend down to a lighter color, sort of like I'm doing right here, where we're taking that white and we're blending that pink into that darker pink, and creating that lesser blend and lowering the pigmentation of those colors. Now I'm doing these one at a time so that I don't cross-contaminate the colors, because like I said, the white does pick up the pigmentation of the color that you're going across. So it does work well in lessening a color to a lighter tone or tint. I don't feel it works well for a color blend to create another color, and it doesn't seem to take out very much of the white spot. So I personally would choose the Caran d'Ache blender over blending with the white. Now let's take a look at some of our mathematical stuff. I know math is not our strong suit, but we'll take a look at it anyway. So when I purchased these, they were $38. So $38, and then we'll take our handy dandy calculator because, it's just easier. Let's actually grab the calculator, not the calendar. So $38 divided by 60 pencils equals 63 cents per pencil. So it's per crayon. I am using the same thing that I use for all my swatches. So let's grab a little bit of glitter because we like doing this in glitter. I think we're going to go with gold this time. Let's grab our glitter pens. And the ones that we think are good, we'll do in gold, and the ones we think are we'll do in red. So I think with 63 cents a crayon, that's not too bad. So I've got at least 2 stars for the price. Let's take a look at the cost of 60 Crayola crayons because that's the closest I have to compare. They are definitely um, a higher pigmentation, a better, um, what is the word I'm looking for? Saturation, all that sort of thing, than say the Crayola crayons. Um, so Crayola crayons are actually extremely cheap for 64. They're $6.89, so that's like $32 cheaper, but they are definitely $32 created cheaper. The washable ones are much more expensive, but these would not be washable. Another one that I want to look at is the Caran d'Ache because I do feel that they are possibly a step down from the Caran d'Ache's Neo Color ones, the wax pastels. Uh, so a 60 set of, well, a 30 set of the Neo Color ones is $51.99. So the 60, if there is one, I don't think there is one. Neo Color 2s. So I think the 60, the 30 is as high as it goes for those from what I can see. Neo Color 2s. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything higher for the Neo Color ones. Now there very possibly could be. Um, I'm just not seeing it. So Neo Pastels. They do have an oil pastel set, but that's not what we're looking for. All right, so it seems that the Neo Color ones only has a 30 set and they're $50. So they are a better price point than the Neo Color ones. They are, however, more expensive than the Crayola. So I think they are a good mid-range, um, both in quality as well as price. However, I will state that Sakura had their 100-year anniversary and put out a anniversary set of these. I do believe last year or the year before. They are available on eBay for about $500. They are not worth that. Even the ones I found on sale that were on sale for $296. I did order those before these ones came in, and I worked it out, and it was basically $240. No, it was 299.80 something. But it ended up being $240 that was just for 40 crayons. So it wasn't worth it. It was a 100 crayon set, but if I could buy these ones for 38 and then the extra special ones for the 100th anniversary were going to cost me $240. And that was just way out of the ballpark in my brain. So, um, definitely would not suggest that. Purchase a small set on Amazon. They do have smaller sets than the 60. See if you like them, then buy a larger set. The color selection in this set, I do believe, is a 4. Oh, I've got the red one. Oopsie. The color selection I do say is about a 4. It does have a good variety of color. although I could use with less of the yellow browns, more of the brown browns. So we're going to give it a 4 as well, same as we did up above there. Well, we're going to give it 4.5. All right, color saturation, they do saturate very, very nicely, and I do think that they, with the amount of layering and that sort of thing, you can get a very good ability of color. So I do believe that they are okay in this department. So I'm going to give them a 3 stars because it is about a medium, a little bit over a medium of usability. Now they are not open stock, so we're not going to give them any stars for that. And we're going to fill in the edges here because we just want to fill in all the stars. So the red is the part that's a no, and the yellow is the part that is good. Gold is good, red is bad. Although I like red, so yeah. It's not really red, it's kind of pinky red. Now, another thing that I will say, going over top of these with, say, um, gel pens and that sort of thing, be very careful when you are going over top of them that you don't push your pen into them, because if you do, they're going to pick up that wax and it is going to clog your pen. So make sure that you don't push your pen onto the crown. Make sure that you're gliding over top of it. Otherwise, like I said, you will clog your pen and you will have a hard time getting that cleared. All right, just going to fill this in. Then we're going to mark the upper area. So again, I think the cost per pencil is pretty good, or per crayon. Let's do crayon. The cost per crayon is 63 cents per crayon. That is way more expensive than, say, Crayola. However, it's a lot cheaper than, say, the Caran d'Ache Neocolor ones. And I do find that they are a lot more blendable. They lay down a lot nicer, a lot smoother than the Crayola crayons do. I've never used a Neocolor one, so I can't compare them. I've had people tell me that they are 10 steps above a Crayola crayon. So since these, in my opinion, are about 5 steps above a Crayola crayon, I think they're a good medium ground. Um, Color selection, I think they have a really good color selection. They have 60 different colors, and they give you a good variety of each color family. Color saturation, they do lay down really nicely and they do build that color up. I would not suggest putting a heavy hand to get that heavy color saturation right away, because it will fill in the tooth of the paper way too quickly and you will find that blendability is impossible. They are not open stock, so they are definitely going to fail that. They did pass the blender test, however, they did fail the blendability with white. That's a no-no. I don't like that. Don't do it. Um, I know, judgmental or what, huh? The blender test, I do believe they did well with the blender test, both removing the white spot as well as blending those colors together. They did create a rainbow blend, so we do have blue, green, yellow, orange, red, and purple. So I do believe they passed that. They did do a 3-color blend quite nicely. They graduated into each other, and they do not smudge, and they do not run with water. So I do believe that all in all, they did pass very, very well on all of the different things that I look for when I'm doing a pencil testing as well as swatching. Again, these are not pencils. I keep on saying pencils, and it's because of the pencil is in their name. And I was mad when I got these because I assumed, because it said pencil, that these were going to be a woodless color pencil. They are definitely not a woodless color pencil. They are definitely a what we in the US and in Canada would consider a crayon. Now, that being said, after using them on a couple of different things, I do find that they do lay down quite nicely and they can definitely be colored with. Not in the same way that you would a pencil, but they do have pencil in their name. Do not be fooled, as I did in my ignorance and unknowing, that in Japan they call all writing sticks and color sticks pencils, um, just like they call all coloring painting. So I did not get out of my own interpretation of pencil when I bought these. So when I got them, I was a little bit perturbed that they were crayons and not pencils. Hence the reason why I canceled the 100 set, because I did not want to pay um, almost $300 for crayons. That would be $3 a crayon, where I can get the 60 set on Amazon for $38. The other 40 were basically $230, which was just way too much. So, that's my findings with them. Like I said, they do color very, very nicely. I'll show you the page that I colored with them on Monday, if I can find it. I just had it yesterday. What did I do with it? Because it did do very nicely, and I did blend them with the Caran d'Ache blender, and I did layer them together and everything else. They do come with this wax paper sheet to keep them separated from the tin and to keep them cooler. Um, there it is. I had piled things on it. But like I said, they did very, very nicely. They blended through here. They blended in the bunny's fur. They also blended on the egg and in the grass. So I feel that they did a fantastic job coloring on the cardstock that I use. I was not disappointed with the way they laid down, which for me is phenomenal since I'm not fond of wax crowns. And in my opinion, they have a great selection of color, including some neon colors. And a lot of people don't like neon colors because of the high amount of wax that are in them and the low amount of pigmentation. I enjoy using them for additional highlights and different things like that because they are actually really pretty colors that can be integrated into a highlight situation. So I do actually enjoy having those in the set. I don't find them a waste of space. However, this setup here, I don't find them a waste of space. Don't get me wrong. I do feel that they're a little bit too close to the same color, and I would prefer one of these to be a lighter version of this. A little bit darker than this, but a little bit more yellow than this. Other than that, just looking through, these two here are really close together as well, but this one is definitely darker. And this one's more blue than this one is more green. There was another one as well. These two here, the reddish brown and the brick red, are really close to the same color. This one here has got a touch more red, where this one here has a touch more orange. But yeah, all in all, I think they are a really good selection of colors. And they do, like I said, they do lay down really, really well. I have not tried to color over top of them with colored pencils yet or anything like that. These are really new to me. But if we have, like when I use them again, I will try to incorporate them with other medium to verify whether or not A, you can color over top of colored pencil with them, or B, you can color over top of them with colored pencil. Now I use oil-based pencils, which are a um, harder wax base than, say, Prisma. So a lot of my pencils I do find will cut into the wax and maybe scrape it off. So I will have to see how that goes. And you never know, I may end up having to use some of my softer wax-based pencils. I do have quite a few of them, so that's not an issue. Um, but it may be something that you can use to give the water resistance to your wax-based pencils that don't have that water resistance, that do move with water and have their pigmentation run all over the page if you're going to use watercolor. So this may be a great way to seal that in and give you that extra boost of color. All right. So that's it for me with the Sakura Coupy pencils. They are a wax crayon. I'm not going to say this enough times because I keep on slipping up and saying pencils, and they're not pencils. These are definitely a wax-based, and what we in the US and in Canada call a crayon. They are a wax stick with color. They're not a mixture of wax and oil or wax, oil, and pigment. They are definitely a wax and pigment, and that's it. Um, I don't find that they are a student grade or a lower, lesser grade of crayon. I do find that they are a step above or a couple of steps above a um, Crayola crayon. Would I use these every day? No, I would not. Only because I don't enjoy heavy wax things. I don't enjoy heavy wax pencils either. So I won't use them every day, but I do have a few ideas in mind on how to use them. And I will be testing those and I will let you know on those later on. Are they worth the $38? That's where we're finally at here. I think with the testing that we did and knowing that we definitely have water resistance, we definitely have smudge resistance, a good three-color blend ability where you can definitely blend three colors together to get a gradient blend. We're definitely able to do the rainbow blend with a layering. The blender works great. The only thing I wouldn't suggest is using white for blendability on a heavy colored area. However, with the really pastel-y light colors, where white is a dominant color in there, definitely work quite nicely in there. So the cost per pencil is 63 cents a crayon. Um, Cost per crayon is 63 cents per crayon. The color selection is very nice. I do think that they are great for the amount of crayons that there are. The color saturation, I'm going to give you a medium to middle ground good. I do find that they cover very nicely. However, they do take some layering to cover. If you do use a heavy hand, you can definitely not get any other color into that area because it will definitely take the tooth out of the page. And if I can't say definitely more often, In one sentence, I I am sorry. But yes, I do find that they have a really good saturation level. Open stock, they are not open stock from what I can verify. Definitely not on Amazon, and on the website that is listed in the box, it actually gives me a 404 error stating that it's a unidentified website and my computer won't let me go to it. So, with that being said, I did find them on Sakura's site after I went through and actually did a complete proper search for Sakura's site. I also found out that the Sakura company actually owns the Brunzil company as well as the Royal Talons, which was interesting. They purchased Royal Talons and Brunzil um, in the early 80s and early 90s. Go figure. Sakura Company is also the same company that owns the Sakura Jelly Roll gel pens. I do have a set of the Sakura colored pencils, and I will be doing a project with both of these things together to see if they will work together and create, see if I'm able to create with them together. But yeah, just a little bit of information on the Sakura company. They are a company out of Japan, and they do have Sakura USA. They do have a company here in arm here in the US. They also have arms in both Europe as well as Australia. Like I said, they do own the Royal Talons as well as a part of the Brunzil company. So yeah, the fact that they do actually own these companies and still continue to create top quality um, pencils and that sort of thing from the same companies instead of dropping their um, costs down, they maintain the exact same standards. That's the word I'm looking for. In their pencils, which is great. I was just surprised when I was doing the research and it showed that they had actually acquired these companies. It was really surprising to me. All right, guys, so that's our little bit of history and information on the Sakura company. Um, Again, with the test results, I do think that they do stand up well for what we do. I don't know if they're light resistant or that sort of thing. Light fast, that's the word. And I don't care. It doesn't matter to me. I don't put my colorings in direct sunlight for any period of time. I don't hang them on the wall for any period of time. So having the light fastness in my tools doesn't really faze me whether it is or not. But all in all, I think that they are a great set of, let's call them what they are, crayons, wax crayons. Not saying that wax crayons are bad, because there are some really good wax-based crayons out there that make me more willing to use them. Um, the crayons when I grew up were an inexpensive, no name ones that you take to school, that sort of thing, other than the Crayolas. Crayolas were the top of the line for children. These are higher than those. However, I don't think they're as high as the Caran d'Ache. All right, guys, with that, I would like to say thank you all very much for watching. I hope this has been informative, a little bit of entertaining, and gives you some information on the Sakura Coupy pencils and the fact that they are in fact wax crayons. to us people here in the US. And that they are not horrible. Um, Even, crayons are not terrible. I must tell you all this right now. Crayons are not terrible. We hear the word crayon and we cringe. And not all crayons are made equal. There are some really good crayons out there. All right, guys, with that, thank you all very much for watching. Of course, always remember to like, comment, and subscribe to any YouTube artist that you enjoy. And of course, always remember to relax, color, and stay safe, everyone. Until next time, bye bye for now.